Representative Steer, we have in front of us House File 3241. Could you please introduce yourself and the bill for us?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. House File 3241 is a traffic safety bill. Last year, 2 State Patrol troopers approached me and asked if I could help with a statute. We sat down together and looked at Minnesota State Statute 169471. Under Subdivision 1, the current language says television screen. Both troopers reported issuing citations to motorists who were watching a movie on their navigation screen while driving. Both were dismissed from court because neither qualified as a television screen. House File 3241 updates the language to read display of electronic content. Current technology allows drivers to purchase a device that it essentially turns that device into a cell phone or a computer into a vehicle interface system, which can be viewed on the vehicle's navigation screen. Troopers are reporting that under the current statute, this is not enforceable. Surely we agree that we don't want drivers going 70 miles an hour down the road and watching video or playing video games or watching TV. House File 3241 allows law enforcement to intervene, educate, and sometimes enforce this critical statute. Thank you. We can take any questions that you have.
Thank you, Representative. I will move this motion to the general register as will be the motion. With us as testifiers, we have the, yeah, that's right, we do have an amendment. We have Mike Hansen, Director of the Minnesota Office of Traffic Safety, and Colonel Bogoyevich from the State Patrol. I will move the A1 amendment, and then, is that the amendment that you had, or you had another oral amendment that you wanted to do?
Mr. Chair, yes, we'd have an oral amendment we'd like to do as well.
Okay, let's add the A1 amendment first. It's in your packet, members. Looks like it changes the dates. All those, any discussion on the amendment? All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. Whoops, anybody opposed? Nobody opposed. The amendment is adopted. Chair Tapke.
Chair Kazak, I'm going to defer to Representative Green.
Representative Green.
Thank you, Chair. I have an oral amendment that would move House File 3241, page 2, line 11. It came to my attention that we need to just add some clarification language in. So page 2, line 11, before the semicolon, insert while used in the performance of official duties, to just clarify the language under where things are prohibited.
Does anybody have questions on that oral amendment? And I will note also it's not in our rules to do that, but the chairs have agreed. I believe the author is supportive, and so we're going to suspend with our traditional committee rules and entertain this amendment. Does anybody have questions on it? Mr. Burris, do you want to clarify, as long as we're kind of moving on the fly, what the wording of the amendment, and then any clarification or for the committee of the impact of it?
Mr. Chair and members, so the oral amendment would be page 2, line 11. Before the semicolon, insert while used in the performance of official duties. And this would have the effect of narrowing one of the exemptions that's established in the bill language, so that devices and features installed in a law enforcement vehicle would not have an exemption except when that device or feature is used in the performance of official duties.
Thank you, Mr. Burris. Members, do you have any other comments? Chair Green or Rep Green?
No.
You'll be a chair someday.
Thanks, Chair. No.
Members, Representative Joy, do you have any questions? No? Are you sure?
Mr. Chair, if we could have him, the director, go through just a couple of numbers and stats for distracting driving, that'd be great.
Yeah, Mr. Hansen, please introduce yourself and proceed with your testimony.
Mr. Chair and members, thank you. My name is Mike Hansen, and I have the privilege of serving as the Director for the Department of Public Safety's Office of Traffic Safety. Just a little bit of context for why this particular piece of legislation is important. If we think back over the evolution of the connection with the human and our electronic devices, first it was messaging, then it was texting and always calling on those phones. But what we're looking at now is a real switch in what is taking place as we are interacting with those electronic devices. There is much more video content and other types of interaction that aren't necessarily classified as texting or messaging or things like that. And this includes the video streaming, the gaming, the shopping, everything else that everybody is taking place on that. Talking with a couple of the national telematics companies who look at this data, this is what is really on the horizon, and it's actually already here. We're seeing a decline in the amount of texting and messaging that's taking place, but we're seeing significant increases in the amount of engagement with this virtual content. A couple of statistics from here in Minnesota from a project that we worked on with the South Lake Minnetonka Police Department and the Highway 7 Safety Coalition. They deployed a new camera-assisted technology over the course of the past year on Highway 7 out in the Excelsior and South Lake Minnetonka area. And just a couple of statistics to illustrate how significant this distraction problem is in Minnesota. In the month of February alone, in 2025, that technology detected 10,000 violations where somebody was actually holding that electronic device or doing something with it when they went by the cameras that were detecting those violations. When the technology was deployed, the month-over-month change in the number of distraction citations that were issued, prior to the deployment, it was 59 distracted citations. After the deployment, 305 in the same month. And so we see that there is this correlation between the distraction and the fact that on an average year, 30 Minnesotans are killed as a result of distracted driving, 30. But that is an underreported number. It's very difficult, as I know our law enforcement partners would tell you, to prove distraction was the actual cause of the crash. And it takes a tremendous amount of resource to investigate that and then to prove that. So this is a good piece of legislation. It updates the language, makes it easier to enforce. And with that, I would take any questions, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hansen, and members. I went out of order a little bit. There was a motion to, we had the oral amendments. Members didn't have any questions. If you have any questions, I don't see any. I will move to adopt the oral amendment as was stated and offered by Representative Green and clarified for the committee by Mr. Burris. All those in favor of adopting that oral amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The oral amendment is adopted. Okay, back on track. We're going to go to the Colonel and then a couple member questions. Welcome to the committee for the first time in 2026, Colonel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Representative Steer pointed out this really just takes the antiquated language of television and expands it to what's in front of drivers today. It allows law enforcement then to issue a citation, educate on that, but also the final piece of being able to prosecute that successfully, again, to ensure that those behaviors that lead to those crashes can be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. Appreciate your testimony and time here today. We have 3 members on the list, Joy, Spencer Murrah, and Scraba. Representative Joy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Steer, I see it says on line 1.18, it says wearable devices. Is that referring to also these new AI glasses that people wear that show text messages, emails, all that? Is that going to cover that too? Because with the new, you can get prescription glasses that actually will Bluetooth to your phone and play whatever you want on there, so.
I'll defer to the
Representative
experts
Steer.
on this one.
Mr. Hansen?
Mr. Chair and Representative Joy, members, in my opinion, reading that particular part of the language, I would agree that that would be covered. Any type of video dynamic engagement by the driver would be covered in that language.
Representative Joy?
Thank you, sir. That is it.
Representative Spencer Murrah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I actually just had a question for Mr. Hanson. So can you talked a little bit about the distracted driving pilot, and I'm not super familiar. So, or I guess, is that a pilot? Can you just describe a little bit more? Is that something we put into legislation, or, how do they have the authority to do that pilot? I guess I wasn't aware that people were actually getting citations from it. So can you just explain a little bit about what that looks like, how they have the authority to do that? And then also, is that something that could be done in other parts of the state? Thank you.
Mr. Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and representatives. A good question. The project that we did with the Highway 7 Safety Coalition, it was simply camera-assisted enforcement. And this is important because we can utilize this technology in an area where traditional enforcement is very difficult, if not impossible. So simply put, a camera is placed where it can observe traffic, and that camera then broadcasts in real live time to the officer's laptop. The officer is stationed downstream from where the camera is. So as the camera picks up the violation, notifies the officer can observe the violation on their laptop, then makes the traffic stop, and then takes whatever enforcement action they deem is appropriate. And so it's camera assisted. It's not like a speed safety camera or something like that where it's simply recording the license plate number or anything like that. And so from everything that I was aware of, there have been no challenges to the methodology in court, and it's held up very, very well.
Any follow-up?
Yeah, just quickly. So does that mean that any other jurisdiction or municipality would be able to do a similar program, like the camera assisted? Thank you.
Briefly, Mr. Hanson.
Mr. Chair and members, yes, in my opinion, that can happen. And as a matter of fact, we're getting quite a number of requests for funding for that very purpose.
Thank you. Representative Scraba.
First, I want to thank you for getting ahead of this before more of these devices are sold to vehicles to transfer the large. I drive a Lincoln, and it has a big screen. The new one has a screen all the way around the front. It's a wraparound, and it's pretty nice. I mean, I drove one time, and I'm like, oh, this is nice. You don't have to look through your wheel to see the speed and everything. But if that were to turn into a video screen, it's already hard enough driving. I couldn't imagine this. So I applaud you for doing that. Is there any way, like when you try to run your phone to change something, there's an electronic block that doesn't let me do anything on this or my screen till I stop? Is there any way to write code to this stuff to stop them from doing that? Or is this the easiest way to enforce what you're trying to do? Thank you.
Representative Steer.
Yeah,
Mr.
I think,
Hanson?
sorry, that would be great if we could do that, but we would have a lot of pushback, and people need to call 911, so there'd have to be features that were disabled or enabled to do it. Again, it's a great idea. We would like that nobody could use their cell phone while they're driving, hands-free, we have that out there now, but limiting the ability for that phone to work, I'm not sure. I'm not a cell phone technology guy.
Representative Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Representative Steer, for this. I just have a question on how it works. If you're not in a camera-assisted area and we're out in rural Minnesota, how does a citation or what does it look like? How do you get into the position where, okay, I'm going to move, whether it's a cell phone or deciding if somebody's on their screen?
Colonel.
Mr. Chair, members, that's a really good question, and mostly it's just visual for law enforcement, whether we are up alongside of them. Again, as mentioned, those screens are very large, especially the aftermarket ones now that can be put into the squad or into the vehicles. And so really it's visual, it's making that stop, it's connecting with the driver, it's talking through with the driver, and then enforcing.
That's good, thank you.
Great. Representative Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This question is for Mr. Hanson. As you were talking about the camera-assisted enforcement, is that data recorded anywhere or stored?
Mr. Hanson?
Mr. Chair and members, when the technology detects the violation, there is an evidence file that is created that the officer can preserve and download. And simply, it in no way identifies the driver. It is simply an overhead camera shot looking down through the windshield, showing the electronic device and what is being done with it.
Representative Jones, you're good? Very good. Don't see any other member questions. Representative Steer, thanks for bringing the bill forward. Do you have any closing comments?
Yeah, I appreciate your support on this bill. Your yes vote will make Minnesota roadways a safer place for everyone.
That's a very concise close. Good job. Members, I will renew the motion, House File 3241 as amended, be referred to the General Register. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion prevails.
Everybody.